next week, all primary schools are expected to have returned back to class. Gauteng Education MEC Panyaza Lesufi is actually visiting a few schools today. Our reporter, Tshegohaco Moagi, joins us now live from Springs. Tshegohaco, it's great to see you this morning. I saw the MEC and his spokesperson, Steve Mabona, in the shot in the backdrop there behind you just a few moments ago. What are they saying about potential challenges they might see as kids go back to class today?
Well, good morning, Michelle. So the MEC indeed is at Eureka High School, and I mean, he did say that they're not necessarily expecting for there to be full attendance on the first day back to school, as some parents could still be quite reluctant to bring their children back to school. But let us get more details from him on some challenges that he might be facing, and really why specifically he chose this particular school first. MEC, thank you so much for your time. Let us start off with, you decided to come to Springs, to Eureka High School. Why this particular school?
Yeah, the school is one of those that are performing badly in our province. Actually, it was at the bottom of our public schools. And you can see it's a former model C school. So we have put huge investment to turn around the corner, because if we don't have, we have a facility of this magnitude that is not performing well, we are then overburdening other facilities around the area. So we came here just to observe that, firstly, but secondly, also to observe the COVID regulations and the reopening of schools. I'm quite impressed. I think it's a school that has a lot of classes, so the infrastructure can accommodate as many learners as possible. So far, so good.
MEC, there might be some challenges, of course, this first day, this first week, perhaps even into the next week even. What are some of the challenges that you are expecting to face as Gauteng province, and how do you plan on solving those challenges should they arise?
Well, there are three critical ones. The first one, as you have indicated in our intro, is the anxiety of parents and learners themselves. Secondly, in the middle of winter, and the infrastructure sometimes doesn't accommodate learners comfortably, so we need to work with that. Thirdly is the return of educators, because to us it was very key. We took a conscious decision to vaccinate the sector, especially the educators. So in Gauteng, I think 93%, hopefully the remaining 7% will be accommodated at public vaccination site. Because if we can just protect the sector, we really believe that parents will be comfortable to bring their children. But it's a long, long road. You will recall that it's only the primary schools that are coming back en masse. The high schools, they still need to rotate. And that put us in a disadvantaged position, because you still have learners that will be at home, and we are hopeful that when you monitor the situation and check if the sector is not a super spreader, we will argue very strongly that we might have to bring high school learners as early as possible.
Now, we do know, as you've mentioned, that those primary school learners are expected back from next week full time. Are the schools in Gauteng prepared for that return of all learners?
Well, we're at 98% by yesterday. I think we are prepared, we are ready. There are areas that we don't want to compromise, especially areas where there's low pressure water. Our view is that it's safety first. I mean, if you say people must wash their hands daily, and you find that there's no water, I think it will put some risk in the sector, so we didn't want to raise that. So that's one element that we are worried. The second one, obviously, is vandalism. We've got lots of our schools that were vandalized, 53 to be precise. Yesterday there was another school in Soweto that was vandalized. So that's another second area that we need to. But the third is space. You know, with learners returning, we need to create overnight classrooms, which means must bring mobile classrooms and ensure that everyone is there. But on the basis of that, I think we are ready. We'll push, and I want to thank the Minister for her guidance, and also the President for really allowing education to resume. This is a very important element, because if we can miss this, we might have a generation that have missed education, and to have a generation that missed education in this tough and tight economic circumstances, it will be a miscarriage of justice.
MEC, what then happens to teachers that choose not to vaccinate, that have just decided that they're definitely not going to be taking this COVID-19 vaccine?
Persuasion, 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 and persuasion. Check. The resistance when we started with vaccination was very high, I must be honest. We indicated almost 11 to 12,000 educators that didn't want to vaccinate. So we've reduced that to almost half. So we'll persuade, we'll continue to persuade. And I think when they see that age group that is got excited to vaccinate, hopefully they will also change their minds. And we are pleased that the President has been gave us the 18-year-olds, which simply means some within our school premises as well. We need to vaccinate. So we'll persuade those educators, but also we have a responsibility as a state to protect the workplace environment. And that is why there are some debates to say, even those that are resistant to vaccinate, we can't find another mechanism of persuading them to vaccinate, because the sector needs to be protected. We're dealing with children, we're working with children, and experts have indicated children are not spreading the virus as fast as adults do. So we have to protect the sector. I think we'll persuade them.
And just finally, quickly for me, MEC, you've mentioned that there are now 53 schools that have been vandalized within the province. The plans going forward then for learning and teaching, is that still going to happen at those schools?
Well, fortunately, the vandalism took place mainly within the administrative block and other things, so it's not within the learning space. There are a few schools where people have taken either our devices or they've broken the doors and the windows and the ceilings, but majority of them is administrative block, and we really believe that education can continue.
All right, thank you so much, MEC for Gauteng in the education sector, Panyaza Lesufi, really just giving us details about the new school year, or the new school term rather, Michelle, and the first day back at school.
Yeah, absolutely. Vaccine hesitancy is still quite an issue among some of the teaching population around the country. Tshegohaco Moagi, thanks very much for that update. She's live to us there from a school in Springs.